They finally released the original Star Wars movie online. Except it wasn't Disney. It wasn't Disney Plus. It wasn't even Hulu. And now the company behind the leak of George Lucas's original masterpiece may have been disappeared completely from the web. We'll tell you what's going on and why it proves they should re-release it in theaters as soon as they possibly can. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. It is a joy to spend time with you. We are overjoyed to have the honor of a lifetime in getting to share the latest in entertainment news. As we do so, folks, we only ask that you click that like button. We've got a very scandalous kind of story coming your way, but also we'd like to tie it into just how much better and bigger the original Star Wars would do than Snow White or the other few films Disney is getting ready to unleash upon the world. Now, many investors are beginning to wonder, why won't they just release the Star Wars the world is asking for? Out of Men's Journal, it says rare, untouched theatrical 1977 Star Wars is streaming on Roku right now. Well, don't get in such a hurry because this one came out February 28th. We're using this from Ryan Britt because there's more news about this as we're getting started today. The Roku app called Cinema Box has a 1977 Star Wars, but for how long? Now, the reason this is so fascinating is because most of you have probably never even seen the 1977 Star Wars. It's been locked away. People wonder, is it even still around anywhere? Does George have it somewhere in a vault? A lost version of Star Wars is currently streaming online for free, but for how long isn't clear. As of right now, those who use Roku with their TVs can locate an app called Cinema Box. And on it, users will find the 1977 theatrical version of Star Wars. No use calling this version of the movie A New Hope, because this streaming version doesn't even have that subtitle in the opening credits. This means the version uploaded to Cinema Box predates 1981, which is the year that George Lucas retroactively added Episode 4, A New Hope, to the opening title crawl. But, folks, things they are a-changin'. And what are we talking about? Well, let's go to this image that was shared with me from Marvin. And this comes from Fuutamasa, which is a wonderful name to have to read online. Thank you for this, Fuutamasa.
Are you trying to put a spell on me?
Oh, sorry, but we're not into the Halloween season. No hocus pocus here. Cinema Box is no longer available. That's right. It says I was just watching as many faith-based movies earlier. Now the system is saying Cinema Box is no longer available, probably just because of the Star Wars movie and everyone talking about it online. Now, Marvin, we've got an article on thatparkplace.com. It's one of the VIP articles. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to become a VIP member of the website, it's just $5 a month. But Marvin, explain to us, what is this? What has happened? Why can people no longer watch the 1977 version of Star Wars that they've waited 15 years, 20 years, 30 years to get to see and now is no longer online?
Well, I think a lot of people rush to blame Disney about the lack of 1977 Star Wars available. It's actually a big George Lucas thing. Like it has always been a sticking point with him that the original version does not count anymore. It is, and classicists have always wanted it. That being said, somebody posted this up on that service. That is correct. However, the entire service, the entire Cinema Box app has been eliminated from Roku. And we received confirmation from this from the Roku community team, which is in the article there. It's fascinating because the 1977 version of Star Wars does exist. There is a version of it in the like the National Archives, but you can't actually check it out or view it. It's like hidden behind lock and key. I have always kind of believed that part of the deal between Lucasfilm and Disney, and this has long been rumored, was that they can't release the unaltered versions of the original trilogy because George has been always adamant that this cannot happen.
So there's some things I want to throw in here on this. There's a lot of possibilities on wherever it is that Cinema Box got a hold of this. And I might have seen I might have a copy that I've obtained somewhere of something that looks pretty close to 1977. Maybe it was
from a hobo in a back alley with a VHS tape and A substance which could not be named?
Based off of a 1970s, obviously, Spanish language print, and then supplemented with existing high definition things. But there are 4K restorations out there of old Star Wars here. There's also a thing called George's Original Unaltered Trilogy, which was released as a second disc off of certain DVD releases back in the day. What that was, though, was an audio cleaned up version of, I want to say, the 1993 with an old title card on it. I'm getting really in the weeds on some of this, so I'm not going to try to go too hard into the nerd stuff, because whenever you go there's always going to be someone who corrects it a little bit.
Well, I think it's suffice to say, Jonas, that the audience now realizes that you will travel to Uruguay to illicit garage sales to find what it is that you have to find.
Well, the other thing is there's people out there who claim to have despecialized editions where they mix and match what goes in here. One thing that I will say, the original One Last Time versions, otherwise known as the Faces editions that they sold in America, that is generally what people think of. After George did a restoration, he did a basic level restoration. Those special effects from the original are rougher than people realize that they are. They were still amazing at the time, but the things that George has successfully done is replace them with something that looks much smoother. The matte lines reduced so much more. But I wonder if this is an original 1977 or if this is just one that happens to have the old title cards on it. I'm not sure that I believe the men's journal here.
Did you have a chance to look over whatever it was that was streaming, Jonas?
No, I did not, because I Marvin and I in separate missions here, I should say, both tried to find Cinema Box, but it had been blasted out of the Roku App Store. There was something called Box Cinema, which was offered instead of movies, it had pelliculas, which I don't know what those are.
Yes, I didn't see that.
Well, let me ask Ron. I think one of the fascinating things, first of all, how did this company get a hold of this thing, and who in the world would put it out there knowing the wrath you would incur for putting what people have been searching for decades out online for free and not hidden in any way? But Ron, it appears they have been completely deleted from the web. Like, they didn't just come out with a mea culpa and say, whoops a daisy, didn't mean to do that. No, they the entire product was eliminated. And I don't know if it was George that put the terror into them, or if it was the House of Mouse, or who got a hold of them. But somebody said, guys, it's not enough to strike this down. We are going to completely go away, like shut down the company, board up the doors, put it on the real estate market. Everybody run to another country and get out of here as fast as you can. Gone.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I think why wouldn't you want the original out there just for comparison? I mean, if I were in George Lucas's position, I don't know why he wouldn't want the original out so that people could see, hey, look how far the technology has come since here's what we were able to do in 1977. And then we were able to make these improvements along the way, whether you agree with the improvements or not, or whether you agree that they are improvements or not. I would think you would, just for the historical reference. I mean, I think it was, honestly, it's a lot of achievements of Lucasfilm in technology and what they were able to do at ILM. That stuff amazes me. And I still have an original copy, or as original, I think, as it gets, because when it first came out on VHS, I still have that copy myself. I don't have a VCR, so I can't play it, but I do have the copy, and I'm pretty sure it's still playable in a VCR. But it's just kind of bizarre to me that it's just like I understand why he wouldn't want the Christmas special, the holiday special. That was tragic, and I don't think he had much to do with the holiday special, although that is completely out there on YouTube. And you can see the whole thing. It's kind of funny to watch. But original Star Wars, it has a place in cinema history, and to see what they were able to do with the technology that they had. I mean, I was watching a whole retrospective on Star Wars the other day, and it's fascinating to me as I was watching the retrospective about how it all started in 1974, how he couldn't get the rights to Flash Gordon, which is what he wanted to remake, and so he had to kind of start this whole new thing. I mean, the story of Star Wars and how it started is fascinating. It's so fascinating. What they ought to do, and I think this would make a ton of money, is actually release a 4K Blu-ray edition of the original as it was first seen in theaters, along with the improvements that's been made. I think it would, first of all, that would sell amazingly. The original Star Wars, for me, still has a lot of magic to it when I go back to it, and I love watching the original version versus the McClunky version,
right.
which is hilarious. But you got it, like, that part of Star Wars is fascinating. The Disney stuff sucks, so why not?
So the thing that I'll say here is the current 4K versions, other than the fact that Disney did their own 4K films and slapped them on there, like bolted it onto the back of Frankenstein. So the McClunky edition, that was George Lucas, and he handed over digital editions that already existed. So when people watched it on Disney Plus, which is, I'm convinced, the first time that a lot of people had watched a 4K edition of Star Wars, all of a sudden you get Greedo right before he shoots at Han Solo, and I can't remember if it still has the awkward dodge. It's not my go-to version of Star Wars, and it's really hard to track all the changes. He goes McClunky before he shoots him, which is like, okay.
Here's the, in Return of the Jedi, like the Ewoks blink. So it's like, that at some point George Lucas was laying awake in bed at night, unable to sleep, just being like, they don't blink. They don't blink. or he's got to say McClunky. The whole saga depends on it.
Yeah, so
depends on McClunky. Hey, by the way, talking about Disney Star Wars sucks. Here's a thought experiment for everybody. We know that Snow White, the live action with Rachel Zegler, is currently tracking to make something like 55 to 65 million. I think it's going to make more. I think it's going to make 67, and I hate to even say that. But for its domestic box office weakening, okay? Or weakening. Its first box office weekend. But weakening is appropriate. Good semantic slip there, unconscious brain. But we also think that the Mandalorian movie could be in trouble with its first domestic weekend. So here's the question, guys. If they just released the untouched 1977 original Star Wars into theaters and let it go for 4 or 5 weeks, how much money do you think that would make as opposed to what Disney's been up to?
Oh my gosh, that would make well over 100 million. I don't know where, but I think it would definitely do over 100 million, but probably
for $0 expense. Is that fair?
Yeah, they're putting Revenge of the Sith out on in theaters, and I guarantee you that makes more money than some Disney movies.
Well, if they even just did home media releases of Star Wars and started from scratch, because right now the only 4Ks that you can get the individual editions, but I have the Best Buy. It's one of the last things that I bought with a gift card that was Disney before I was like, I'm kind of done with these people. I've kind of loosened on that over the years because they're difficult to get away from. But it was the 9 movie Skywalker Saga edition, which, by the way, from a physical disc standpoint, is not very well put together. But that is pretty much the only way to get everything together on 4K that's out there. If they started going through and actually releasing these in a way that was respectful or focused on the things that they have done to give fans what they want, that would be amazing. But Disney doesn't know how to do that. They if they do another Star Wars release, it'll be like Warner Brothers, where they'll take a sliver here, right here, and they'll attach that to the Lord of the Rings. Or what they're doing now at Warner Brothers is they're taking the old rings that they have left over from the last edition that they did and putting them with the 4K discs and pretending like it's a new edition. Like Disney is not taking advantage of the gold mine that they have right now. And they don't need to put it on Disney Plus because no one is watching Disney Plus right now. So it would just be a waste of money. But if they wanted to sell physical copies of this, man, think of the money that they could make. I don't want to overpay for it, but man, just think about how much people would pay if you said, yeah, sure, here's a $100 1977 4K release of Star Wars. Go ahead.
And And if you did a trilogy, if you said we're going to re-release them in their theatrical original forms, you're talking about $500 million at least in box office from 3 films that are sitting there collecting dust, and they must just not want to make money. That's all you can conclude, but that's where we are. And if you folks decide to be so uncautious as to post something like that, well, you could wind up like Cinema Box, which has not just been boxed in, but has been boxed out and no longer seems to even exist. The Hollyweirds don't understand how it is we do what we do, bringing you video after video every single day of the utmost highest excellence and quality. But folks, we do it because of you. We appreciate you. You are seen and heard here on the Pro Channel. Make your voices heard, folks, by doing one last thing before we say goodbye for a short time. Consider clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, and you know what? That notification bell, click it and stick it to the algorithms. Also, drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And don't forget, folks, we've got even more content on the way. If you'd like to become a member, it's just the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of exclusive content beyond what the public sees, including archival footage of the Pro Show that goes away after just a few days from its public release. Folks, we hope we get the honor of spending time with you again soon, and until then, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.